Hello. Oh, I'm so excited about this. So I'm going to do a little project for the journal. And this has been inspired by Paula, who is one of the Holtz Makers. Now, at the weekend with the new colour release, this particular make that inspired this is about 30 to 33 minutes into the video. So if you want to go and check out the genuine article, go and do so. Like I said, it's about 30-ish minutes into the video. I've cut these file folders on my Cricut, and I've had them done a while. I've got a big stash of them. You can always use a square piece. It doesn't have to be cut as a file folder, but mine is. So I want my file folder this way around, and I have an image here. You can use any picture you have. This is just one that I have printed, and I'm going to take my little foldy tool. This would work with any theme. This is based on a crime theme because it's going into my casebook, but it will work for any theme at all. Now, I'm not going to fold my file folder in half, and like I said, you could use just a rectangular piece of card with the corners round. It doesn't have to be like this. Now, I'm putting my image in place with a little bit of a gap here, and I'm just going to make a fold, and it's not going to be in half, but that's fine. I'm not worried about that. I actually quite like this offset look. So that is my file folder folded, or piece of cardstock, and like I said, you don't have to do it this particular way, and my image will fit in there. So before we work on that, I need to jazz this up a little bit. Now I'm going to move over to my messy side of my board. I'm just going to move the camera slightly. There we go. And I'm going to use my brush, and I'm basically just going to ink. Oh, that's quite a lot of ink on there. That's okay. It's because I've picked up the wrong ink. I was expecting to use the vintage photo, and instead I've picked up ground espresso oxide. So a little bit of a boo-boo, but that's okay. We can work with that. We can work with that. Right, just give that a little, and I'm going to do a little bit on the inside as well. I think my brush could probably do with a bit of a clean. I'm just going to pick up some of the ink that's on my board, just to ink around the edge there. I want this grungy, so grungy is good. Right, so we have this. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put something on the back here. Now, these are some of my Mackie stamps, and this one is absolutely fabulous. I love this stamp. It's got number 21 in, and it's got little bits and pieces on the edge there. Let's have that like so. You can really tell I'm not super strict on keeping my stamping platform clean. Right, so I'm just lining that up. Close that. That's great. And now that's going to be the back. And I want another piece down here, but this time it's going to be upside down. So I'm going to put, I think what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to take my post-it notes and just stick those down there, because I don't want to get this side inked, and I'm going to line it up like so. Okay, so it goes that way. I've done it wrong, haven't I? That's upside down. It's okay. It's okay. I'm gonna leave it that way. I'm gonna leave it that way. Okay, so I'm just gonna do a little bit more stamping on here. I want a stamp across here. Let's grab my little, and I've got lots of kind of my Tim Holtz stamps about. So I think I'm going to go for, quite like this one. Will that fit? Yes. Put that there. Okay. I think I'm going to have to take this outline off because these drive me to distraction. I much prefer using those stamps than these ones. I find it very difficult to navigate around there. I think I need to cover this up somehow with my little boo-boo, my little error. I'm going to try and put some of those numbers on there. That's cool. Right, and I need something across the top there. That can be quite a big number actually. So let's use this one. Right. Now across here, I have the little numbers that come out of the kit. So I'm going to just cut one of these off the bottom and give that a little ink. I'm going to put that across the top here. Grab my glue. Put that in place. That's fine. Now I want to add my picture. It's under here. So what I did was I've printed this onto semi-gloss photo paper. Use the Decal Edge paper trimmer, but you could use scissors, or you can age it using your scissors just by scraping your scissors up the edge. And then I've just given that a little bit of an ink, and that's going to go in here. So I'm going to put that into place, glue that down before I do the front with this fabulous idea of Paula's. Right, let's get that down. Might have to do a little something along there as well. Now on the front here, I have one of the fingerprint cards, and I have to decide, maybe I could use both pieces actually. I was just going to put the fingerprints on the front, but I think I'm going to use this top section of this card. So I'm going to cut along that line, and that fits on there rather nicely. So I'm going to ink the edge of this. And actually grab my vintage photo and a cleaner brush, and I'm just going to kind of ink this up a little bit like that. Keep those together. And then what I'm going to do, I'll leave that there for a moment, is I've got a text stamp. Any text stamp will do, because we're just going to give the illusion that this is handwritten. So I'm just going to put a little bit there and a little bit there. So it's not real, it's not meant to look real, but we've got something like that. And then I'm going to take my condemned stamp, put that on there, grab my red archival ink, and I'm going to stamp across the middle of that. And then I'm going to attach this here. Brilliant. Now I do think I need to include this somewhere. Need something along there, I know that. But let's move on to the middle. I've got an evidence label. This is again from the kit. Just going to give that an ink, and I'm actually going to ink the back of this so it's not white. I could mount it, but I want that fairly lightweight, and I am going to actually, I'm going to give the front a little bit of an ink as well to grunge that up a bit. Yep, like that. This is going to go over here. I'll grab my paper trimmer. Let's just put the lid on my glue. Got my paper trimmer. And I have a piece of acetate. Right, take my ruler, and I'm just going to measure the width of that label. It's just over 8 centimetres. So I'm going to slide this in. Actually, I'm going to use that edge because that's the flat edge. Slide this in and do just over 8 centimetres. I'm going to cut that, and I want it, I'm going to go for 12 centimetres wide. Actually, it probably doesn't need to be 12 centimetres wide, because this is going to go, I'm going to have that at the bottom. So I need that about 10 centimetres. Right, it's really hard for you to see, but that's my piece of acetate right there. I'm going to do some stamping on the back of this. Do my little pointy finger. Let's make sure I get that the right way up. That will be upside down at some point. So I've got that. And let's add a number like that. This is the tricky bit. This is the tricky bit. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to attach this to the bottom here. I'm going to trim this more exact in a bit, but for now I'm going to turn this over and I'm going to run this through my machine. Okay, so that's pretty good, but I am going to have to trim this very slightly. Doesn't like that acetate very much. Now, I'm going to take my tiny attacher, line up my acetate and put my little, like so. So that is what we have. But in here, I've got my little hole prepared. So I'm going to put a little hole in here. I'm going to do it at the bottom actually. Grab my small eyelets. Punch is already set to small, so I'm going to put that in there. Set that. And I've got a couple of little tags. Let's use the same number we've already used. So on one, I'm going to put the number 30. And on one, I'm going to put the number 43. Just so they've got a number each. Right, now, how I did this, I'll show you the previous one. On one of them, I've just put 3 and I've tied it. So one of them is tied. It just gives it a kind of tatty look, really. I'm going to tie that off. And the other one, I'm going to do by putting that through, pull that through the other side, and this one I'm going to make this a bit longer, so I'm actually going to poke it back through those threads like that. So we've got a couple of little tabs on there. That closes. We definitely need something along here. Put a piece of caution tape there, I think. Just going to trim that a little bit. Right, I'm going to ink here. It's quite bright, this yellow tape. Actually, let's give that an ink. Take some of that bright yellow away. I was really organised. I don't know what happened to my desk. I've now got a clean side and a messy side. So depending on what I'm doing will depend on where I'm working. But when you're filming, you sometimes need a bit of both. So I thought I'd try and work in the middle. It didn't quite go to plan. So let's line this up with the bottom of that. I can trim that, so that's not a problem. Incarcerate, sorry. There's back in my box. Dump the edge. Let's glue that. We'll overlap that. Just trim this. Like that. I actually think I want a little bit of text stamp along here. So I'm just going to grab my text stamp again. Give that a little there we go. There we go. Grab a little clip. So obviously this is the Inspired by Paula piece, and I've used my crime theme, and that is our little file folder with our little flip image in. Here's the one I made earlier. Very, very similar. This one is in the opposite direction, and I've used one of the little toe tags from the kit as this flip on that one, and this is one of the suspect records rather than the what did I use there? The fingerprint cards. So I've used a suspect record on this one, but I used a couple of split pins on that one rather than the tiny attacher. But either way, I think they're pretty cool, and they are going to look fabulous in the crime journal. So thank you so much for watching. What I will do is probably pop this card in there. I am going to do a fingerprint card later on in another video. So there you go. Thank you for joining me. I will see you all hopefully tomorrow for the next video. See you soon. Take care. Bye.